I just wanted to talk to you today about what I call conscious keto. To be honest, I thought I was done with keto. I've used it therapeutically for my body and my health, and I've helped many other women and a few men actually as well help heal their body, their physical body, and their health as well. And I kind of thought I was done with that, like what's next? I'd been looking at lots of other different ways to heal the physical, the mental, the emotional body. But what I've found lately is, it's largely popular. Like the ketogenic diet, low carb diet is quite popular, and I guess what I'm seeing is a lot of people jumping into it without really a full understanding of what they're doing. And I think it's dubbed as like a fad diet, or it's dubbed as a bit of a trendy diet at the moment, but it's not just a diet. And I think it's really important that we understand kind of what's happening within the body and approaching it with a little bit of respect, I think. So, to give you an idea, what you're doing is you're keeping your carbs really low, right? But you're keeping the glucose, which comes in the form of your carbohydrates, so low that you are depriving the body of its main fuel source. So it's kind of serious, right? There's not enough of it to fuel your body. And then what that does is it forces the body into an alternate fuel source, which is your fat stores. And then from that you get lots of benefits. One, you're burning fat, so you're probably going to lose any excess fat that you have. But also there's lots of therapeutic benefits. The body switches on its antioxidant protection system. It regenerates cells. It basically upgrades into kind of healing mode. There's lots of studies that show it's reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, things like diabetes, but even things that involve regenerating cells, like neurons within the brain, so Parkinson's, Alzheimer's as well. There's so many benefits, but I think what we're doing is we're just approaching it as a diet and not really having the respect for what it's doing within the body. It's really shifting the hormone balance within the body as well. So as a consequence, we make our hormones more efficient, but these are big biochemical shifts within the body, and everyone's just jumping on it because it's a good diet. And so what conscious keto is, it's this kind of, I guess, creating awareness and responsibility for these changes. So for this diet, but also metabolically what it's doing. So when you're a glucose burner, so say you're on a typical diet and lifestyle, you're burning glucose, which there's only about 2,000 calories that get stored within the muscles and the liver within the body. So it's not much, it's only a few hours worth. And then what happens is when you get low, you get hungry, you might get lightheaded, you might get hangry, you basically you might feel tired, and that's when you know that you need to refuel, and you're refueling glucose basically, and that tops you up, and then you get another few hours worth. And that's why we need to kind of tend to eat every few hours to keep topped up. That's glucose. It's a fuel that actually burns really quickly. It's really easy, so whenever you need it, it's there. It's kind of like putting paper on a fire. It burns just like that. But it's anaerobic as well, so any situations where you don't have oxygen, it can burn glucose. But if you switch over to, say, doing a ketogenic diet or a low carb diet, and you deprive yourself of that glucose, and you're switching your body over to burning fat, but you don't really understand what you're doing, it's just a diet, then you're depriving yourself of a certain fuel. And then what happens, let's say you are stressed, so your breath gets shorter when you're stressed, and shallower, so you're not getting as much oxygen. So you're signaling to the body to burn glucose in stress. When we're in fight or flight response, the body will burn glucose because it's quick, it's easy. But you've deprived your body of that, so then it starts to create a stress on the body. So if you're approaching a ketogenic diet or a low carb diet just as a diet, but you're not changing your lifestyle to managing your stress, you're putting a huge strain on the body. That's just one. If you don't understand that the metabolism of the fuel sources is completely different, then you retain fluid when you're burning glucose. That's why we have all this fluid retention issue. But when you're burning fat, you don't retain fluid, so you lose a lot of fluid. And what happens is you can be like drinking so much water and still feel thirsty, and that's because you're not getting enough electrolytes. So if you're not understanding the shift in metabolism, then again that puts a huge strain on your organs, your kidneys, like that is creating more stress on the body as a result of something that's meant to be helping you. So there's lots of different parts that we need to kind of approach. Like a ketogenic diet or a low carb diet isn't a diet. It's a complete change of metabolism from burning glucose to burning fat, and there's so many differences. And some of the things that are habits or trends that I see happening is when people go on a low carb diet, they up their fat really high, but they don't really understand the consequences within the body. So when you up your fat quite a bit, so you've got a beautiful plate of high quality fats, so things like avocado and macadamia oil and all these beautiful fats that are really, and maybe some fresh salmon that are really supporting your body, but then you'll have so much on your plate that the body gets all its fat from there. You become a fat burning machine, but it's burning all the fat on your plate, not your body. So then your weight loss can stall if you're looking to lose weight, because you haven't really understood what's kind of happening within the body. Same with protein. Like people can end up eating, when they drop their carbs, their protein goes up. And protein is not a fuel. It can't fuel the body. It's got to be your fat or your carbs. And therefore, if your protein goes up and then you end up with excess protein, this can put pressure on the body. It can create an acidic environment. It can also mean that the excess protein just gets converted to glucose, and then you still end up with too much glucose to actually be a fat burner, and that can stall the results as well, so you don't even get the benefits. So you can see how conscious keto is really about understanding more about what we're doing within the body, what ketosis actually is. So it's a real shift from a diet to actually a lifestyle, because the lifestyle has to shift to support the metabolism, especially in the early days where the body's relearning how to burn fat. Another example is sleep. Like if you're not getting sufficient sleep, the body will burn glucose when there's insufficient sleep because it's the paper on the fire. It's really quick and it's easy to burn. If you haven't given it the glucose, then again, you'll feel tired, you'll feel hungry, you'll feel angry, you'll feel, basically your body's getting all the signals of being hungry. So if you're on keto, a ketogenic diet or a low carb diet and you're hungry, your lifestyle isn't matching the fat burning lifestyle. Fat metabolism needs oxygen. Like it needs oxygen in order to be a fuel for the body. You must get oxygen. So that's same with exercise, the type of exercise. If you're doing like boot camp or boxing while you've just started a ketogenic or low carb diet, again, the body doesn't have the fuel that it needs because it burns glucose in those environments. It needs a quick fuel that's going to go like that. So it's understanding like the whole big picture. When you're burning glucose, one of your side effects of glucose metabolism and things like lactic acid, it's very acidic, you get that build up within the body. The side effect of burning fat is ketones, which can be used, that's why it's called a ketogenic diet. And these little molecules, they're anti-inflammatory. So if you've got like an autoimmune condition or an inflammatory condition, absolutely, this is a fantastic way to support the body healing, get your inflammation down, reduces pain. Like pretty much, I'd say everyone that I've worked with, their pain's gone when they're getting the body into a state of ketosis. But it's, again, understanding like what you're doing. So it takes a certain level of commitment. It's not just about going, I'm just going to try this new diet, because it's kind of scary that we're just kind of going, I'm just going to try this new diet. It's not like the diets you've done before. It's literally changing the metabolism of the body, and we're really not respecting the seriousness of that, and that can really cause a strain on our body, on our livers, our kidneys, our gut, if we're not really approaching it from a holistic perspective and a place of consciousness or whole understanding. Same with sugars. Like I've seen lots of people on a ketogenic diet. You can have artificial sugars on a ketogenic diet. That doesn't mean it's helping your body. It can be a great gateway, like a way of keeping your sugars low initially until the body stops craving them, and then you can kind of come off them. But if you're using them all the time, there's so much research that links it into different cancers and different conditions within the body, and I think we still haven't even researched enough to fully understand the scope of these artificial sugars. Our bodies aren't designed to hold artificial things within them. And to me, like a conscious keto doesn't mean total exclusion of carbs. you can use carbs strategically once you understand that you've got two metabolisms. It's not, I guess, not two metabolisms, but you've got two fuels that you can use. One is going to be quick and powerful and immediate. So, if you want to sprint down the street, that's what carbs are for. If you're going to do anything that's kind of long and sustainable like most of your life, then absolutely fat. You can be a fat burner, a primary fat burner, and then use carbs when you want to bump that intensity up. So there's so many aspects for me of what a conscious keto is, and I think if we're looking at healing our bodies from a place of wholeness, not quick fixes, because that's what diets have been in the past. It's a quick fix. They're not sustainable. You deprive your body of its fuel source and you get hungry, and if you don't listen to those cues, the body slows down the metabolism, it down-regulates the thyroid, so you end up with problems in the long term. And then basically you've got a slow metabolism and a sluggish thyroid, and that's as a result of your dieting behaviours in the past. Well, if we don't approach the ketogenic diet or the low-carb diet with the same level of seriousness of what we're doing to our biochemistry, our hormones, our organs, then we're going to end up with different issues, but issues nonetheless, where anything that we're doing with our bodies, any changes that we're coming, they must come from the right place, not from a place of fear, but coming from a place of wholeness, like integrated, there is no one size fits all, there is no one fix for any one thing, and coming from that place of wholeness. And absolutely, ketosis is so beautiful, so powerful, and I think, in our life, it's absolutely something that we've used in the past. It's part of our ancestry and the cycles that we've gone with feast and fasting. So our bodies are designed to have those periods of healing, cellular upgrade, body upgrades, and that's what it does. But if we can come from the right place, with consciousness, with a level of wholeness, and coming from a place of healing, then we're absolutely going to get the most out of the body. You'll increase your energy, no doubt. You'll lose any excess weight that you have for sure. Your brain will be on fire. Your memory will improve. I thought I had baby brain, and then as soon as I went keto, no, that's gone. So the brain, just starts firing. I think there was one of the memory champs over the other side of the world used to go keto before his competitions because it just upregulates his memory. So there's so many benefits, cellular repair within the body. It absolutely can support the gut if done right. So there's absolutely an amazing opportunity for healing, but it just must come from wholeness and consciousness. And once we have that awareness, we can take full responsibility for our health, and we can absolutely have the benefits of living, with control over our bodies again, light and free. So that's it for me, and if you have any questions, let me know. It's certainly why, I thought I was done with keto, but I ended up creating a whole this conscious keto program, basically to shine a light on what keto really is, but come from a place of healing. Even when we're looking at what dairy and meat, people just suddenly switch over to burning, eating lots of meat and eating lots of dairy, but it bumps insulin up for a lot of people as well, and it slows the process. Meat and dairy often have lots of hormones and chemicals, so how can we approach our nutrition ethically as well in a way that's whole healing? So that's it for me. If you have any questions,